What is going on, guys? My name is Vlad, and now we are going to talk about how to declare and how to initialize arrays. So when we talk about data types, we usually should start with the following question: how we should declare it. How should we declare an array? This simply means how can we specify the creation of something new? How can we create a new array? So similar to working with variables of different types, which you've seen how that's being done in most of the previous chapters, the first thing that we need to do before using them is to specify that these variables do exist, that someone has created them for us or we created them, right? So it's also the same for arrays. The first thing that we have to do to work with arrays is to declare them. And now once you've declared it, you are ready to do different types of operations, including accessing different elements of the array, assigning values to elements, input, output, and so on. Okay, so I hope that's clear, and now let's take a look at the declaration syntax in our C programming language. So we said that for the simple variables we've talked about so far, we used to declare them like this. We first of all specified the type of the variable, and then we specified the name. So in this example, we used int grade. And we know that grade is the name of the variable, and int is its type, the type of the variable, integer. So that's a simple variable, a simple box with the name grade, which is simply used to hold your grade on your last exam, and it will be of an integer type, okay? And another example may be like double salary, right? Some simple variable to hold your salary, and it's of a floating point type, a double type. We also have, if we want char my char, another variable to store one character. And we can specify a lot of other examples here for the declaration of different variables of different names and of different types, which specify how you create and basically how you declare a simple variable. A simple variable is just my analogy to let you understand it with more ease how to understand arrays, okay? So we define different simple variables with different names and different types. That's it. And that's basically what we've learned so far. And now we are ready to proceed and to talk about how the declaration of arrays looks like in our language. So the first thing to bear in mind is the fact that we are creating some sort of collection of elements. And this collection of elements is going to reside under one roof called an array. So similarly to creating a grade variable with just using int grade, we will create an array of grades that will hold a collection of grades. And we do so like the following. First of all, we specify the type int, then we use the name of this collection, of this array, and in the square brackets we specify its size, meaning how many variables, how many grades we want to hold in this collection. So the name of this array we've just created is grades. This array has 5 elements. We can see the size of the array in these square brackets. And the type of each of the elements, the type of every grade is an integer, similar to what we've created, just singular, simple variable. Is that clear so far? Nothing complicated, right? One roof, and under this collection, under this roof, we have multiple elements. We may have multiple grades. So also please note that all the 5 elements within this array are first of all uninitialized. You created the array, but you didn't initialize anything. Just like with simple variables, if we didn't initialize them, then they are going to be uninitialized. We didn't assign any value to them. So once again, here in the square brackets we have the size of the array. Here we can see the type of each of the elements within this collection, within this array. And here we can see actually the elements inside of this array, okay? First of all, If we did not assign any value, then they are going to be uninitialized. So we just created our array, and now we want to see what we can do next with it. You will be able to read data from the user. For example, if the user will have 5 grades, we will be able to read these grades and store them inside of each of these elements in the collection, in this array. Or maybe we will be able to assign different values based on our needs, or to print the result, and so on and so forth. So once again, quickly to summarize everything up, the necessary steps to declare an array are, first of all, you specify the type of the elements you would like the array to hold, whether the type of the elements should be an integer, like we've used in the previous example, or it even may be of a double type, a char type, and so on. Then you should specify the name of the array, some appropriate unique name, which will allow us to identify this particular array over some other array, right, which has a different name. We should be able to distinguish between different arrays, so that's why we should have a unique name for each of them. Makes sense, right? And lastly, what we want to do is to specify the length of the array. And this could be done by using the square brackets. So the length of the array simply says how many elements of the specified type we've defined at step 1 are going to be in this particular array. Please note that the size of the array must be constant, and it's very important that you define the size of your array as constant, and that's important because if you don't do so, then the program is simply not going to work. It's not going to compile. And specifying the size of the array as constant is done mainly so the computer will know at the compilation phase how much memory it will need to allocate for the whole array, since the array is stored as a sequence of elements, just one element after the other. That's actually how it's stored in the memory of the computer. It's simply a sequence of elements. So basically you've got the idea, and we can say that these were the steps for declaring arrays. And now let's create another array which will be used to hold salaries of employees in a company. So now we created an array of salaries, and each element in this array is going to be of a floating point type, and the number of elements in this array is 10. And basically that makes sense, right? Because the type of the salary is probably not going to be of an integer type, but rather it would be of a double type or a float type. So that's why we created an array of a floating point type values, and probably in a company there is more than just one employee. So for example 10 employees, and we therefore created an array of size 10. And you can also define an array of characters by using char myArray, let's say this way, of a size of 100. Simple as that. Just know that once you've decided on the type of the array, it will be the type of all the array's elements. You can't let the first 2 to be of type int and the next 3 to be of type double and the last 5, let's say, to be even of type char. That's not possible. Once you've decided on the type of the array, all the elements of the array will have the same particular type. So in the first example we can see here with the salaries, all the elements within this array, within this collection, are going to be of a floating point, of a double type. And in the second example, where we created an array of characters of a 100 size, all the elements are going to be of a character type. So I hope that's clear, guys. I hope you understand now how to create an array, how to specify its size, its name, and its type. And you are ready to move on to the next video, where we are going to talk about how to initialize an array. So I'll see you there.